What's up, everybody, and welcome back to round 3, or round 4, rather.
Round 4.
Holy moly, this has gone fast.
Yeah, 2 rounds of Swiss left. In the feature match area this round, at the top of your screen, we have Daniel. He's playing Gearhole Creativity. At the bottom of your screen is Ben. He's playing Abzan Greasefang.
This is a sick deck.
I know you're a big fan of the Grease Gang. The Grease Gang.
The greasiest fang.
The greasy fingers.
Yeah, so
we are going to get things started off with a Mana Confluence and a Thoughtseize from the Greasefang deck. Looks like Daniel's got a couple of lands. A Torrential Gearhole could divide by 0, a Magma Opus, and a Make Disappear.
Yeah, probably get that Make Disappear, right?
Pretty standard handout here. It depends. So he's got a couple of different ways he can break up the combo here.
Yep.
He can use a Divide by 0 to bounce the Greasefang so it doesn't have a chance to
that's true, yeah.
Or he can get rid of the Make Disappear so that his Greasefang resolves.
Yep, and we're getting rid of the Make Disappear.
Yeah, I support this decision.
Yeah, this is, and especially since we've got a few turns before Ben's really going to go off, right? Like, he's, there's no real acceleration in Greasefang. It's generally just play Greasefang on curve, set up your graveyard in a way that you can get your Parhelion to the Electric Boogaloo back, and then crew and smash in for some angels. This deck has seen a lot of different iterations since its first creation. We were kind of talking about this on break, where it has to be black-white because of Greasefang, obviously, right? But what that third color was going to be, because it could not just be black-white. There's not enough in the 2 colors.
No, not enough. Not enough graveyard enablers.
Yeah.
We're frozen here. Hang on just a second.
Stand by, everybody. Yeah, there's not enough graveyard enablers in just black and white, especially in Pioneer. But when we add in green, we get things like Grizzly Salvage, which is one of my favorite cards. Witherbloom Command, which functions both as sort of a pseudo removal spell as well as a graveyard enabler. It's just excellent card advantage in terms of exactly where we want the cards to be. Cards into graveyard is the best version of card selection in
where your whole hand and your whole graveyard is your hand.
Yeah, if you've played any kind of like dredge deck, you know that like drawing a card is not as good as milling 5 cards. Having some technical. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to correct this brightness issue real quick. But we see sort of the pretty standard opener here for Daniel. He's got a treasure token in play there. And we've got... It's interesting to see 3-color decks in Pioneer really leaning into Mana Confluence as...
Yeah, I mean, I don't love it, but I'm also glad that it exists to enable it. The 3-color mana bases can get kind of complicated.
Very much.
They're not perfect.
Especially if you're not like leaning into one color too heavy.
With the reprint of the allied colored fetch lands.
Oh, the fast lands, yeah.
Or the fast lands.
Yeah.
It makes those other colors a little bit more accessible, and then of course you get all of the pain lands.
Yep. Yeah, we have 100% of those, and the shocks, obviously.
Yeah.
So the mana bases are sort of like wild in Pioneer. I don't think there's a real settled, especially in 3 or more color decks. There's no real settled, correct mana bases like in Modern or in Legacy.
So you were talking about the graveyard enablers.
Oh yeah,
getting the best ones from green. Well, I think that might be true. Rafine's Informant is a white card that does give you the graveyard stuff. So you see your Rafine's Informant going to come down and connive.
And it immediately...
That is going to put up Parhelion 2 into the graveyard and attack as a 3-power attacker.
Yeah, almost able to crew the Parhelion at this point. Like, sort of close to it. And so I've seen... When this deck first came about, we saw Esper lists that utilized the bird. Yeah. To pitch, but we're not casting enough spells, multiple spells, to really enable the bird often enough. Raffine's Informant just gets to do it.
Yeah, and I think the green is just like the most powerful in a vacuum way to fill up your graveyard. You have the flexibility of Witherbloom Command. You have the card selection from Grizzly Salvage and the card selection from Vessel of Nascency. Here is a Liliana of the Veil.
Talk about a discard spell. Self-discard. You almost never have to tick this down in this deck. It's always tick up, always pitch a card from hand.
I mean, you can tick down though.
You can.
If you need to. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Liliana of the Veil, not super powerful in Modern anymore, so I'm glad she gets a little bit of a spotlight in Pioneer.
Yeah, while I don't want Pioneer to become Boomer Modern, I do like seeing homes for these like less powerful now former Modern staples.
Sure.
I'm not looking to see the play patterns from old Modern. I think Pioneer should be its own thing, in the same way that Modern is its own thing and shouldn't try to be legacy.
Yeah, formats having their own identity is great.
Yeah.
And, I would agree. I also don't want to see Pioneer become, Boomer Modern.
And Modern.
As it were, if they were to, reprint a bunch of these old cards, old Modern staples that don't get play anymore and just shove them into Modern. Or
exactly.
Pioneer would just become that. So you see a Gear Hulk going to come
with
down
a Magma
here,
Opus in play.
With a Magma Opus in the graveyard. That's going to tap down a couple of lands.
Kill Lily.
Not sure exactly where he's pointing the damage just yet.
Oh, he pointed at Liliana. I believe he's putting all four at her.
Yep, Liliana's going to go away. Daniel's going to get to draw some cards. And you see here a Beseiju is going to take out the
so good. Oh, he's responding by tapping the land so that he can Beseiju. That's good.
Yeah, use your mana.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and when we talked about green being a good support color, having access to
Beseiju is really good too. Another cool thing you can do with Beseiju is when your opponent casts their creativity and targets their treasure token, you can fizzle the creativity by destroying the treasure token target in response.
Yeah. It also, in these decks with 3 colors, if you think that they've gotten one of their few triomes out, or like one of their few cards that can produce extra colors, you can limit what they can produce.
Yeah, you can just start sinkholing them with Beseiju.
Yeah, Beseiju, just super powerful card. Definitely not as powerful in this format as in Modern, but still very good. And here we're seeing Daniel's secondary plan, which is
Den of the Bugbear. Let's go.
Well, we saw him win a game in the last match with
the Hall of Storm Giants.
Hall of Storm Giants. Yeah, these land super powerful.
Yep. Use that mana, buddy.
And we've got a Greasy.
Here's a Greasefang.
And there is a Parhelion too in the graveyard right now. And we're getting
like a... Oh, what is this card called? I've been playing this card in Canadian Highlander.
Oh, it's the one that lets you pitch a card to draw a card.
Gosh.
Oh, it's the...
Yeah, it's from the new... the March of Machines.
Yeah. It's a red kill spell
that
lets you
pitch a card. Yeah, it's 2 mana, deals 3 damage to target creature, planeswalker, and then you can put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library and draw a card.
Yeah, I think previously the one we got only did 2 damage. So this is sort of a...
No, it was also 3.
Was it also 3?
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up right now.
This basically just an additional copy of that card.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that it's either at uncommon or commons.
Yeah, it's right there. It's a common.
Volcanic Spite. Yeah, it's a very good card, especially in a deck that wants to reset its deck. Like, you don't often want the Gear Hulk in hand.
Right, you don't want the Gear Hulk in hand because you can creativity for it.
Correct.
It's especially potent in the combo, the worm Gear Hulk list, where you want to have the Xenagos and the Gear Hulk both in your deck. So the worm will shuffle if you discard it to something like Fable of the Mirror Breaker, but the Xenagos does not.
It just stays in the
So you can't simply just discard it. You have to find another way to get it back into your deck so that when you creativity for 2, you get to kill your opponent. And Volcanic Spite kind of solving that problem. There was another card from, I want to say it was from War of the Spark. I can see the art in my hand, but I cannot recall what that card was called. I'm going to go check real quick and see how these players are sideboarding. Maybe Stefan can find the name of that card for me.
Does it do the same thing?
It is a similar effect. I don't think it's exactly the same.
I think it was in Ikoria. Because I remember Ben Wheeler got this as his preview card. It was Fire Prophecy. So 2 mana instant, 3 damage to target creature. You may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, draw a card. So the difference here, the Volcanic Spite, it's literally the same effect. Instant speed lets you draw a card if you bottle a card on the bottom. Fire Prophecy can only target a creature, whereas Volcanic Spite can hit a creature, planeswalker, or battle. They really gave it a big upgrade there by letting it hit basically any permanent in play. And it's sort of interesting that that they could have formatted it that way. There's 3 mana to target permanent. Yeah, it was Fire Prophecy.
Fire Prophecy.
But it only hits creatures.
It only hits creatures. It doesn't hit planeswalkers.
Yeah,
that's the difference. That's the upgrade that you get from Volcanic Spite. So as far as sideboarding goes, Daniel is bringing in a couple copies of Behold the Multiverse and a couple copies of Rending Volley.
Ooh, I love that card. We talked about it earlier. Greasefang is a white creature.
Yep.
So this can't be countered, and it knocks it for 4.
Yep.
Fire Prophecy, funny enough, was Ben Wheeler's, I believe, only
preview card. Yeah. So Rending Volley going to be able to take care of Greasefang before it causes any problems. As far as Greasefang goes, they are bringing in an additional copy of Liliana the Veil.
Correct, I like that.
2 copies of Shieldred the Apocalypse.
Ooh.
And then a couple copies of Duress.
Yeah, I really like
it. Kind of just upgrading the deck, maybe moving away from the sort of like combo aspect of it, and just try to get a little bit more mid-rangey.
Just strip out all the resources.
Win the game by grinding, as opposed to putting a Parhelion into play really early.
Yeah, and I think they have the ability to do that, especially with. If you could stick a Liliana and just allow it to tick up every turn, there's not a lot of pressure from Daniel's side,
especially on the play. He'll be able to get it into play. Maybe Daniel will tap out for something like a Fable of the Mirror Breaker,
and Ben's gonna have access to so much.
Liliana will get to come down, take care of the Goblin Shaman token, and then start ticking up.
I like that because Daniel doesn't deploy a whole load of threats or a whole load of bodies even.
Nope, it tends to just be counter your stuff, maybe do a little bit of card selection, and then when we get to turns 4, 5, and 6, doing very powerful things with Torrential Gearhulk.
Yeah, and this is so. Are these teams 4-0 or 3-0 going into this round?
Yes, these are 2-3-0 teams.
But they are playing for a win in here. Because if they win, if you 4-0, you're basically lock in.
I believe 3-0 is good enough to lock. Okay. So both of these teams are probably already locked for the top 8.
They're just playing for fun.
Yeah, even losses here, probably still going to be locked. Their tiebreakers are good enough at this point that even if they take a couple of losses here, they should still be safe. We have not seen any players intentionally draw yet. We're playing for seeding. Yeah. So
are you telling me that these players just enjoy playing Magic the Gathering?
Weird.
Strange.
Not just here to try to win a belt.
Yeah, just here to have fun, play some games.
Just here to have fun. It looks like Greasefang is going to take a mulligan here for game 2.
Yeah, which is fine. If they can, honestly, if you can pull a Witherbloom command or a DAC or a Grizzly Salvage in the first couple turns, you start just accruing value.
Right, you can get yourself out of a mulligan with something like that pretty easily.
Yeah. And Daniel's sort of the same way, right? Like, he has some cards that undo mulligans in his deck.
Gearhulk Creativity, mulligans okay, I think. They have a number of cards that can create a ton of card advantage, like Divide by Zero specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Magma Opus specifically. As long as they have lands to get going and interaction to stop them from dying in the early game, it doesn't have to mulligan nearly as much. They're not asking for specific things in their hands. They just need a good mix of lands and spells, basically.
Do we know what is in his board with the Learn? what the lessons are?
I did take a look at it. Okay. I don't know what a lot. He has the mascot one.
Oh, the
mascot exposition. He has the Lessons of the Archaics.
Okay.
And then he has a red one that I don't know what does. He's got 5-ish cards, I think. I glanced at them when I was looking at his sideboard, but it's pretty standard stuff. He has the one it's 5 mana, exile a non-land permanent.
Oh yeah,
he's got that one in there, and then I believe he has the 2 mana one that's gain 2 life, search your library for a basic land.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I
it's basically that one a lot. You don't play those because they're insanely powerful. You play them just because like Divide by Zero becomes Ancestral Recall with those cards.
You just get to learn and learn and learn, and nicely all of the lessons, even though they're not well costed. Oh, what is it? 3 copies?
So that's 3 copies of Fiery Impulse. There will be no Greasefang sticking around this game, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
So you see a couple of lands there, 3 copies of Fiery Impulse, a Volcanic Spite, and an Otawara.
Yeah, he's taking the Volcanic Spite. And we got
So Thoughtseize, going to take care of the Volcanic Spite, and then a Witherbloom command.
Good card. Some would say great. I would agree. We got a land coming in tapped and just passing.
Looks like Greasefang and a Duress are going to hit the bin there. Pass back to Daniel. Daniel's going to play a land and pass back. Ben.
Yeah, and we talked about this where Ben has the ability to pivot, and he sees those removal spells, and that's sort of like channeling.
Soken's going to get channeled at the end of the turn here.
I like
that. Food for creativity.
Yeah, that. Ben is hoping to grind, and sometimes not. It's easy to be able to, if we can get the actual combo in play, it's an easy win in a lot of ways. Like if they don't have the reaction or the responses to it. But he's not really.
That's a big ask.
Yeah, it is. Exactly. This is a very reactive deck. We're using the Witherbloom command to -3, -1, and mill.
I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
I have never cast a Witherbloom command.
Really? It's
no.
Okay.
I read that card when it came out, and I stopped reading after I read the word sorcery.
Yes, that's the problem. and it was sort of deemed as unplayable because of that. I don't care for that mode of -3, -0 at sorcery speed. That feels like it wants to be an instant speed spell.
Greasefang going to come down. Fiery Impulse going to take care of the Greasefang. Greasefang, and then you see a Behold the Multiverse on the end step here.
This is a sideboard card, isn't it? Is this from the new set, the March of the Machine? Let's see. Behold the Multiverse.
No, Behold the Multiverse is from
Kaldheim.
Kaldheim, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It has the
just scry 2, draw 2, scry 2, draw 2 cards.
Yeah, and he's just hard casting it, not foretelling it.
Actually, maybe that wasn't a Behold the Multiverse that he cast there. Looks like a Takanuma Abandoned Mire going to get cycled here. It's going to put a Greasefang back in hand. Ben's going to cast the Greasefang.
And he's going to eat another removal spell.
Here's 3 mana.
To counter it? Yeah, it's a counter.
It's a Divide by 0.
Oh, he's bouncing it back to hand.
Lesson into his hand. Divide by 0, extremely powerful in a shell like this.
Yeah, it's so funny that it's like it returns a spell or permanent with mana value 1 or greater to its owner's hand. Yep. Like that's just almost all of them.
This card was banned in Standard.
I'm not shocked by that. It's just so good.
It turns out if you have a Leer in play.
Oh yeah.
This card is unbeatable.
Yeah, Leer actually played in the Lotus Field decks these days now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, card's great.
Gives them all that inevitability of all the cards having flashback. And here is a hard cast Esika's Chariot.
Making some Kit Kats.
And then a Behold the Multiverse going to come off of
Foretell.
Going to come off of Foretell. Here's your Scry 2.
Draw 2.
And another copy of Divide by Zero is going to send that Esika's Chariot packing.
Wow.
Just casting so many spells.
And finding more. Like,
never-ending stream of spells. Fable the Mirror Breaker going to go up to Chapter 3 and get transformed here.
Yep. This is a good position for David, right? He's at 18 life.
Daniel.
Yeah, sorry. For Daniel, he's got 18 life. He's got tons of resources. And there's the
Mascot
Exhibition. He's going to make a ton of tokens. I think what, it's like 9 power or something?
A 2/2, a 3/2, and a 4/4.
Yeah.
So
9 power
would be
off of 7 mana. Is that a Grizzly Salvage there?
Yep, Grizzly Salvage. You're going to find a Greasefang.
And another removal spell.
It's going to get met by the 3rd copy of Fiery Impulse. Here's that Esika's Chariot again.
Just
finally got to resolve a spell. Wow.
Ben fighting for his life.
Couple of cat tokens going to hit the battlefield here.
I do like the cat art he's chosen here. Good cat.
Are there many cat tokens, green 2/2 cat tokens to choose from?
There are a bunch.
Oh, are there?
Oh yeah.
I like the one that has really long hair.
Yeah, that's the. Oh, we got the concession. That's the other one from the Kaldheim is the Maine Coon.
It's like the Maine Coon. Yeah.
I was trying to think of the breed.
Big fluffy kitty. All right, so
that's round 4.
Gearhulk Creativity gonna take that match down pretty easily.
Had all of the answers like right from the get go.
Yeah,
Ben knew it was gonna be an uphill walk.
Sure did.
Man, this deck.
I love to see it. You know why? Because I love this deck.
Yeah. I mean, I love Greasefang, and I'm not saying that they could still be a lock for the top 4. We're gonna wait to see what happens.
Top 4, right? I was thinking top 8.
No.
Oh, right. I forgot we were just doing the top 4. Okay, so I digress. Everything that I said earlier about making top 8 is wrong because today we are only doing a top 4. My apologies.
Yeah, so this was probably a win-in for Daniel's team. Or it's a win-in for both, most likely.
Yes.
If they're 3-0 running into round 4, and they didn't pair up or down, assuming they're both.
Wow. You know what? I said that earlier. I knew that, and then I just completely forgot that was the case.
Yeah, I was actually talking to the team earlier, and I was like, "Hey, are you guys locked?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll see. We don't know it." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's top 4. There's only 4 teams that are going to make it."
Mm-hmm.
We're aggressively cutting today, so like, there are 3 and 2 teams who will not make it to the top 4 today.
Wild. All right, we will be back with round 5, the last round of Swiss, in a little bit.
Bye-bye. Love you. Kiss, kiss.